What's up, everyone? It's time for my Premier League Game Week 3 picks. So Game Week 2 didn't go as well as Game Week 1. I got 4 out of 9 results correct, 0 correct scores. But in those 4 correct results, there's only 1 goal off. So, it was a weird weekend anyway. No draws. So let's see how Game Week 3 goes. We're going to start with Friday Night Football. Chelsea v Luton. For me, I know Chelsea they had a good first half against West Ham. Obviously, it collapsed. They lost 3-1. Caicedo given a penalty around his debut. Still think Sterling looks sharp. And surely this is their first win under Pochettino because they had good spells at home against Liverpool. So I'm going for a 3-0 win for Chelsea. Bournemouth v Tottenham. Tottenham looked very good in their first 2 games. Great result over Manchester United. Bournemouth playing some good football though. I want to say a draw. But I think, with the way Tottenham played last weekend, it'd be silly to say that they don't have a chance of coming away from this with all 3 points. So I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. Arsenal v Fulham. Hard-fought away win, as I called for Arsenal on Monday against Crystal Palace. They really dug in deep with 10 men there. I think that things are just going to kick into gear further here for Arteta's men, and I want to get as many wins on the board before Champions League football kicks in. And the rotation naturally starts to happen. So I think 3-0 home win for the Gunners. Brentford v Crystal Palace. As I mentioned at the beginning, no draws last weekend. This is one of the games on my radar, which I think could be a draw. It's clear that Palace need Elise back ASAP, but Brentford are surviving without Tony with that good big away win over Fulham last weekend. I'm still going to say a 1-1 draw though. Everton v Wolves. Everton got smashed by Villa. Then really not looking good for Sean Dyche's men early doors of the season, and Wolves got pretty smashed against Brighton as well. And I did allude to the fact that despite having a really good result at Old Trafford, performance at Old Trafford and not getting a result, that this thing happens where they don't back it up against a side next game on. And it wouldn't shock me, I know it's going to sound weird, that considering both these sides conceded 4 goals last weekend, that is a 0-0 draw. I don't see more than 2 goals in the game, so it could be 1-0 scrape either way, 1-1 draw, but I'm going to say 0-0. Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. As always, I try not to be biased when talking about Manchester United, and it's worth saying that Forest obviously looked good in their defeat at the Emirates, and they played well against Sheffield United on Friday Night Football last week. I still like Manchester United's chances of balancing back, though, after that defeat to Spurs, because in the first half, Rashford had a chance, Bruno had a chance. If Antony scores, it's a different game, but I don't like to dwell on ifs and buts like most fans do, because Tottenham played superb in that second half. I'm just looking at the performance as a whole and think that as much as United's midfield's been overrun in 2 games, I still think there's the potential there to bounce back, and they need to prevent serious question marks going into that away game at the Emirates next week. So I'm going for a 2-0 home win for Manchester United. And finally, with the Saturday games, Brighton versus West Ham. 2 good wins for Brighton to start the season, and generally speaking, I think they're quite a bogey team for the Hammers. This is a game where I'm leaning towards a draw, and that's because West Ham have beaten Chelsea, as I spoke about before. I want to say 2-2 draw, but don't be surprised if Brighton win this 3-2. So either 3-2 or 2-2. Let's move on to Sunday. So on Sunday, we have 3 games. We're going to start with Vincent Kompany's Burnley against Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Burnley didn't play last weekend. I've read today they beat Manchester United in a behind closed door friendly 3-0, so Kompany's men should be raring to go. I can sit here and make a case for either side, because Villa obviously bounced back after the poor defeat to Newcastle in game week 1. As much as I like Unai Emery and Villa, I think beating an uninspired Everton isn't enough for me to say with confidence that they'll win this convincingly. It's another game where I'm seeing either or result. I'm either going to say a 1-1 draw or 2-1 to Villa. Doing it different on the video this week. I know the last 2 I've done, I've gone for definitive scores, and I've alluded to what it potentially could be, but gone with 1. But there's a caveat in place for the Sheffield United Man City game. I'm probably going to get absolutely laughed at for saying this, but for some reason, I just have a feeling that Sheffield United could get a point. They're one of my picks to go down, but I don't think City were particularly convincing against Newcastle last weekend. They just about got by against Sevilla, and had an early goal against a nervous Burnley in the first week. You can make a case for them to drop points. my head says 3-1 Man City, so let's write this down so I don't get completely laughed at. But everybody on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere is going to say that. So in my gut, and I don't know why I have this feeling, I think it could be a 1-1 draw. So let's say 1-1, but put the 3-1 there in case City do win. Newcastle v Liverpool, game of the weekend. Newcastle was so good at St James's Park in that first game versus Villa. As I touched upon, the home crowd will be rocking to go on Sunday afternoon. Liverpool looked good away at Chelsea. Once Salah's goal was disallowed, obviously things turned around. Either side could have won. Did well to come away with that with a point. And even though they were playing Bournemouth, got to give them credit saying they were down for 10 men for a bit. Also a bit of luck, but you know, they got a home win at Anfield. So I think this is a game where you can almost be certain that both teams will score. I think it will be open. Again, a game where I could probably make a case for either side winning. I think I've sat here and wrote 2-2 down what I'm looking at, but I think you could also say 3-2 either way. If I was going to pick someone, I'm going to go with Eddie Howe and Newcastle. But for me, I see at least 4 goals in that one and a cracker of a game in a Premier League classic between Newcastle and Liverpool. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on my picks for Premier League Game Week 3.